is getting off to a great start. To you. Not that bad.
I'm really nervous right now.
Really?
Yeah, last night I wasn't, but tonight I am. I don't know why. And I think it's, this is the first time I had family here. I also want to give a shout out to my brother, Clyde Martin. He's here for the first time in Toronto as well. They all came a long way to support me and to see the show. So thank you. I love you guys.
So with that, one of the things, so tonight we're going to talk about Mickalene's work, her trajectory, and various other projects that she has ongoing, and then also questions of the work arise. So issues of power, race, sexuality, desire. But to start, I want to start with this work, because a lot of people don't know that Mickalene actually started out by making dot paintings. And
I think I talked a little bit about this last night with my conversation with Julie. These bad dot paintings. I forgot you were going to pull them up. But this body of work came out of a student exchange program that I did in Australia. I studied at Southern Cross Uni in New South Wales and Lismore, Australia, and studied Aboriginal art and studies. And so while I was there, I was really inspired by Aboriginal artists like Emily Kingwari, and just everything about how Aboriginal artists embody their environment, their land, their bodies, and use it as source of communicating to the world and with deep meaning. And it was the first time where I had to really think about meaning or in conceptualizing and having your art relate to something. Because before going to Australia, I was just making paintings. And when I came back, I started making my own version of dot paintings. But they weren't really meaning anything. And this says acrylic and oil and canvas, but it's actually a lot of paper on there as well. I was using mixed media, and mixing medias, and experimenting with space, and thinking about the landscape, and influenced by a lot of abstract expressionism.
What's kind of interesting about these particular works is your use of color in the works. And I'm kind of interested in talking about kind of what drew you to not only kind of this gesture, but also kind of the colors that you were using this time.
I think formally for me, I think I just was a colorist. I've always been really good with color. I think that's been one of my strengths with my process, is the use of color. And it was one of my favorite classes too, during an undergrad student, was color theory class. And at Pratt Institute in Brooklyn. And also reading a lot on Joseph Albers, and just thinking about color theory and rhythm and hues of color, chromatic color, and energy of color, movement of color, vibration, and all of that, and what color does, and the importance of color, and balance, and space, and scale, and all of that bullshit with formal aspects. And so I really took to it, and I think for me it was definitely intuitive, but just naturally something that came easy for me. What didn't come easy was what to do with it.
Which kind of takes us to our next slide. So you go from dot painting to Yale University to kind of these early...
That's a big jump, right? That's a huge jump. Let's go back there. Let's see how that feels. Boom, boom.
Let's do it again. Yeah.
Boom, boom.
So
it does not make sense. When you're in art school, it shouldn't make sense, and it didn't make sense. And I think while I was at Yale, I had a great time. I had a really great time, and I felt very lucky when I was a student at Yale University for several reasons. When I was encouraged to apply, first of all, I had an amazing recommendation list of people who wrote my reference, like Lisa Yuskavage. Like, I had the best of the best. And that was just by chance and time and space, because I did a residency before and had met these incredible artists who saw something in me, in what I was doing, and decided to write my recommendation and actually pushed and encouraged me to go to graduate school, because I wasn't thinking of going to graduate school. I was actually thinking after Pratt that I would actually move out west. Why, I don't know. I just thought I'm going west. Okay. Maybe because I knew it was much more affordable and there was space, and that was sort of this ideal I had. So anyway, I end up going to Yale University, and while I'm there, there's all these incredible other students. Right. You know, Kehinde Wiley was there, Iona Brown, you know, like incredible.
Was Titus there?
Titus wasn't there yet, but he did come up and to one of our open studios the year I was there. And it was just a really great time. It was very hard, in a sense, for me, that I felt like I still had a lot to learn. Right. And so I just experimented a lot with materials and ideas, and Kelly Jones was there as an art historian. I took her class. I was just absorbing everything, taking all the courses I could. And one of the things that happened during my time at Yale, this is what they did while I was there. After your first semester, the faculty would get together and they would convene and discuss each student's work. And they would decide whether or not they could recommend strongly or suggest that you take a particular class that would hopefully push you or direct you or move the work in a different direction. So they encouraged that I take a photo class with photographer David Hilliard. Right. And I took this photo class with him, and this is what came out.
And
you know, these type of works.
To slow it down, he gave you kind of we had a conversation in Interview Magazine, and he gave you kind of particular advice around going and photographing someone
that you had the most difficult time with. And at that time...
And this is her mother...
Sandra Bush, known as Madame Mama Bush. Yeah. Look at her. I mean, she's definitely Madame Mama Bush. And yeah, he encouraged me to photograph the person in my life that I had difficulty with at the time. Sorry, if you guys don't want to hear this, you can close your ears. I know it's your sister, but she and I were not getting along. And it was for several reasons. You know, I was really dealing with my sexuality. I was dealing with my mother's addiction. I was struggling, trying to figure out what type of relationship we were going to have. And I just asked if I could photograph her. He thought it would be a really great way for us to reestablish a relationship. And I think one of the reasons why he was really, instructing the students to work from that place of self mainly because that's what his work was about.
Right.
He was a queer photographer who photographed his father a lot. It's about their relationship and dynamics of how he came out to his father through photographing
Right.
him. And so he thought that would be a really great tool of allowing us as artists to look at our own lives and start from within. And so my art's been very personal.